Roy, we look forward to more like that in a little bit. Thank you so much. Good way to laugh on a cloudy day. Each week we do something called a community moment, where we invite up someone from the Oasis community to share kind of a thought for the day that lasts about 10 minutes or less. It can be a life experience you've had, it could be an idea from a book you've read, something you want to test out on us. We've had all kinds of great community moments. If you'd like to do one, please get with me. Today we have someone who's done community moments before, and he's got another one ready for us today, and he is also our cameraman who works very, very hard each week to videotape our program and our speakers. Let's give a big welcome to Gosha Potaman.
Thanks for the introduction, Mike. So, for those of you who haven't heard my community moments before, they usually have nothing to do with religion whatsoever. But they're entertaining and educational anyway. Alright. I particularly like to talk about space. So, on February 22nd of 2017, NASA announced the discovery of new exoplanets in orbit around the star TRAPPIST-1. If that name sounds weird, it's because it's named after the Transient Planets and Planetesimals Small Telescope. That's a telescope that was first used to make the discovery back in 2015-2016. Anyway, this was a really exciting discovery because, as of the announcement, the number of exoplanets around this star swelled from 3 to 7. Apparently, all of them are about the size of Earth. They have a good chance of being rocky planets similar to Earth, and 3 of them are even in the habitable zone of the planet. So, really exciting stuff. Naturally, people in news outlets alike responded with measured reactions. Some slightly less measured than others. To be fair, past headlines have been even worse and even more clickbaity. I thought they were going to chuckle at least. There are actually a lot of reasons for stars to periodically dim, but I'll get to that in a bit. Obviously, those last 2 headlines are really, really clickbaity, and I am talking to a room full of skeptics who, by and large, know how to spot clickbait a mile away. But this is a pattern that seems to repeat itself anytime there's a significant astronomical discovery. So, as Oasis is a self-appointed sci-fi nerd, I thought I'd weigh in on the TRAPPIST-1 discovery and talk a little bit about what astronomers actually found, how they came to the conclusions they came to, and what we can actually learn from the data they collected. So, first things first, whenever discoveries like this are made, the articles most of us read about them inevitably come with pictures like this, or the one that, from my title slide that I'll go into in a little bit. Which you have to realize, and what the authors of the articles usually put in the fine grayed out print at the very bottom, is that this is an artist's interpretation of what the system looks like. This is very loosely based upon reality at best. The part that is based on reality is that there are in fact 7 planets orbiting TRAPPIST-1, and they are all roughly the same size. Then there's this image from my title slide. The particularly misleading thing about this one, I mean, obviously all the planets are lined up in a row, that's not how it actually looks, but the misleading part about it is that it implies we know what those planets look like with any degree of detail. In reality, the clouds, coloration, continents, anything like that you see here is basically just the artist taking creative liberties. It's not based on any data that's been collected. We do have photos of planets similar to this, but photos of planets in our solar system. So, for example, here's a photo of Mars taken through the Hubble Space Telescope. The level of detail is pretty comparable to the image on the slide before, but Mars is on average 225 million miles away from Earth, or to put it into different numbers, 12.5 light minutes as opposed to 40 light years. The fact of the matter is, exoplanets are usually too small to see with a telescope, and even when you do, the images leave much to be desired. So, for example, here's a Hubble image of an actual exoplanet, where if you know exactly where to zoom in and look really, really carefully, you can see a bright dot that astronomers tell us is a planet. But again, it's just a dot, there's no real detail there. So, how do astronomers actually detect exoplanets? Simply put, it starts with pointing a telescope at stars and see which ones wink at us. I couldn't resist. Okay, but what I actually mean by winking is periodic dimming. There's that periodic dimming again. Not necessarily aliens. Periodic dimming can mean a lot of things. A common thing is just a binary star system where one star passes in front of the other and it causes a change in brightness. Similarly, it can be a transit event where just some object, possibly a planet, passes between the star and us from our point of view. There's also plenty of things that give a false positive, like a speck of dust flew by the lens or something. Mostly just means we need to take a closer look, and that's basically how the discoveries around of TRAPPIST-1 started. The initial set of observations made by the TRAPPIST telescope in Chile were made from September to December 2015 and detected 11 unambiguous transit events. So it wasn't a false positive, something very clearly passed between us and the star. And they originally attributed this to 3 distinct planets. Obviously, it takes a while to collect this data, and observations can only be made at night, so the data is very much so incomplete. I guess what I'm trying to say is that looking for exoplanets looks less like this image or even the non-photoshopped one, and more like this. This is essentially brightness data collected and sorted on the TRAPPIST-1 system. So the star generally has one brightness, and then as a planet passes in our field of view, the brightness dips, and dips, and then the star brightens again as the planet passes by. It's probably a good thing we have fairly sophisticated software and telescopes to collect this, because that dip in brightness is actually less than 1%, so human eyes can't actually detect this. And the thing about this data is this is actually data that's all been sorted, cataloged, and sorted through. A lot of times the actual data is not this clean. So the ideal situation is when you detect the same transit event over and over at regular intervals. Each time it lasts the same amount of time, the brightness dips by the exact same amount, and you can reliably say that there's a single object in orbit around your star that's periodically passing into our field of vision. But systems like TRAPPIST-1 have 7 planets, and they frequently multiple planets pass in front of the star at the same time. In which case, what happens if you only see a distinct transit event once? They can mean all kinds of things. It can mean the planet you saw once just has a really long orbital period. It could mean you missed the transit because, again, you're only recording at night. Or, as is the case with the TRAPPIST-1 system, it can mean that there are multiple planets passing between you and the star at the same time, in which case the signals would kind of overlap with each other. Now, there are obviously ways to mathematically isolate the signal for each planet, but you have to really know what you're looking for, and it injects a lot of doubt into anything you see, because whenever you look at a transit event, well, am I looking at the transit event for 1 planet or 3? Anyways, so my point is that the initial discovery announced in May of 2016 was just the beginning. After that, a lot more astronomy teams with more telescopes got involved. Ultimately, they were really lucky to be able to use this NASA's Spitzer Space Telescope, because the fact that it's a space telescope means you can do much longer uninterrupted data reporting. And it's definitely possible to sort out all of this data, even with so much uncertainty involved in it, but it requires a lot of data collection, involves a lot of data analysis. Let's see. So, what do we ultimately know today? Well, astronomers have, through a lot of cooperation, sorted out the system in a general way and obtained essentially these results. I mean, this is a little bit of an oversimplification, but they've managed to isolate 7 repeating transit events that point to 7 distinct planets in orbit around the system. From the length of the transits and the amount that the star dims, they can determine things like the diameters of the planets, their orbital periods, and basically get a very general understanding of the system. That here's your star. This is about approximately its mass and diameter. Here are the planets orbiting. Each orbits the star at every so often. Here their approximate masses and diameters, and well, really that's about it. That's about all the data can tell us. It's a decent amount, and we can make a lot of determinations from that. And we can definitely say which planets are at the right distance from the star, the so-called Goldilocks region that's not too hot, not too cold, just right to where liquid water can possibly exist, which is our basic test for whether or not a world is potentially habitable. But there's still a lot we don't know. We don't know anything about the atmospheres of these planets or have any evidence of life. There's also the fact that TRAPPIST-1 is an ultra-cool dwarf star, so it's a lot smaller than the Sun. It's actually about the size of Jupiter. It's also a lot dimmer, but the planets orbiting it are also a lot closer to where the closest one orbits the planet or the star in less than 100 hours. So it's a very different star. We have no idea how it affects the potential for habitability. We have no idea if the system is regularly subject to a large dose of radiation, or which if any of these planets are tidally locked to where one side is always facing the Sun. These are all things that can affect habitability. So I guess my point is this is definitely a very exciting discovery, and it's great to be cautiously optimistic, but there's still a lot we don't know about it, and it's important to moderate our expectations. So I hope this was at least somewhat educational as far as how astronomy works, how we arrive at the conclusions we do. Thank you.